And we're back for our daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. 3 games today with the college basketball crown and the NIT championship. The 2 games in Vegas for the crown, UCF taking on Cincinnati and Villanova taking on USC. For the NIT championship game, we've got Chattanooga and UC Irvine. My original pick to win the NIT is in the championship. We'll get to all of that today with this video. But folks, before we get into the best bets, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. No college basketball action tomorrow. Day off tomorrow for college basketball. Saturday, though, we've got the Crown semifinals plus the Final Four. Sunday, we have the Crown championship game, and Monday, we have the national championship game. So again, no college basketball best bets for tomorrow. And also, make sure to go check out our NBA predictions posted later today on the channel. Earlier today, we posted our MLB best bets. We're taking that all the way through the entire MLB season to November, essentially. So make sure to join us for that video that was posted earlier today on the channel. And also, in Greedo Plays MMA, we've got our UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Murphy predictions, and for today, our PFL Jackson versus Koreshkov predictions. PFL 1 is today on ESPN 2. Okay, let's get on to the first of our 3 games today. Today, we start things off with a Big 12 game. UCF takes on Cincinnati. Yes, the hate watch is going to continue on the Cincinnati Bearcats. I know UCF only beat Oregon State by 1 point. Very close and competitive basketball game that was ultimately won by the Knights. Now, this is a team missing their star player in Keyshawn Hall. He is not playing in this tournament. He was an opt-out. And Cincinnati has quite a bit of guys playing. They have most of their squad going. This is the second time these two teams have faced off against each other. Obviously, both Big 12 schools. The first one was in Orlando, Florida, and it was won by the Cincinnati Bearcats. I don't think Cincinnati can do it again, but the best bet here for me is plus 6.5 for Central Florida. I don't mind the money line straight up, plus 210, give or take, for the Knights, but I do think they're able to hang in this basketball game. And yes, the Oregon State game wasn't, ideal. They were up quite a bit going into halftime. They're up by 9. They just let Oregon State keep getting back into that basketball game. At one point in the early in the second half, UCF was up by about 10 points, but Oregon State kept scratching and clawing their way back into that one. I think part of the problem is too, UCF doesn't have one, elite scorer, as obviously that's what Keyshawn Hall did all year long for UCF. We always go back to their win in Tempe, Arizona over the Arizona State Sun Devils, where Keyshawn Hall had 40 points, right? I mean, they had in that game Darius Johnson scoring 15, Tyler Hendricks scored 15, and Niels Machowski scored 15 points as well. You might know of Jordan Ivy Curry, who's been around and a decent player for this UCF team. He only scored 3 points in 26 minutes. I expected a lot more out of him in that game. He's coming off the bench, but he played 26 minutes. He went 1 for 7 from the field. I think that'll clean itself up. I get it. Oregon State, not that great. And again, UCF, win in advance, right? That's the name of the game. You're getting to this spot. Cincinnati destroyed DePaul. I don't know how to treat that game. Because yes, good win for Cincinnati. At the same time, DePaul is awful. Right? They fooled us, okay? The Blue Demons, they fooled us by playing competitive ball in the Big East tournament. I blame the Georgetown Hoyas for that. I'm recording this video actually before the Georgetown game, so I don't know if the Hoyas are in the Final Four or not. Probably not, but I think they cover, hopefully. Boise just beat Butler, but regardless, Cincinnati just destroyed DePaul, right? DePaul's playing a 6-man rotation. They could not get anything to fall. I mean, Isaiah Rivera and CJ Gunn were really the only guys showing up for that team. Cincinnati played a good game. I'm not going to deny that, right? I mean, they are deep. I'll give them that, right? Day Thomas scored 13. Jizzle James scored 13. Dylan Mitchell scored 15. Skillings 12. Lukauskis 11. I mean, they've got a lot of guys. They're a deep squad. I just think UCF's able to hang in this game, though. I don't think Cincinnati's that much better than UCF. Even, yes, without Keyshawn Hall in the game. I understand the first time around, the Bearcats did, put belt to ass to UCF on the road. I think the second time around, this game is much more competitive. I mean, I'd expect, right, Jizzle James would probably have another good night. He went 4 for 14 from the field, so I'd expect actually a better night from him this time around. Lukauskis hit 2 big threes to continue to pull Cincinnati away. When I mean big threes, I mean in terms of the spread, right? DePaul was only down 10, and Lukauskis hit a big 3 and came in. It's just, he's all right. He's coming off the bench. They are, they're a deep team. They've got really 9 guys, 9 guys who are going to play solid ball for them. But I think UCF's just able to keep this game competitive. They've got a lot of guys guys who can attack you scoring wise, right? We talked about Cincinnati, their depth. I mean, UCF's got a lot of good scorers in this team, right? You got Hendricks, you got Johnson, Coleman, and Ivy Curry's a guy who only scored 3 points in their initial game in the Crown. They still won, but I mean, I'd expect Jordan Ivy Curry to at least put up 10 points. So there's just more scoring all around, I believe, on UCF. I get it, Cincinnati can get hot. They can start shooting the 3-ball really effectively, but I'm going to take the Central Florida Knights to go here and cover the 6.5 points. I do have the money line for UCF at plus 210. I'm not going to play that personally. Again, if I had to bet a winner, I am going to vary so slightly aside with the Knights, but my favorite play here and the best bet officially for this game specifically is plus 6.5 for the UCF Knights. Even without Keyshawn Hall, I think Johnson, Coleman, and hopefully Ivy Curry can get going off the bench as well to keep the Knights in this one in this Big 12 matchup here in the Final 8 of the Crown Tournament. Okay, we go to now the NIT Championship game. We'll close with the other Crown second round game, but to the NIT Championship game in Indianapolis, Indiana, we have Chattanooga versus UC Irvine. I called this at the very beginning of the tournament. I did. I called it. UC Irvine is going to the NIT Championship game, and I said they were going to win the NIT Championship game. So what has changed? Nothing, right? UC Irvine has proven me right this entire tournament. They've proven me right on my statement that there should have been a 2-bid Big West this season. They are that good. They ran into UC San Diego and lost to them in the Big West Championship game, and they got relegated to the NIT. They were 29-6 or 28-6 in the regular season. They have a chance to get their 33rd victory tonight against Chattanooga, placing them at 33-6 for the entire year. Their run in the NIT has been great, right? Competitive games, I'm not going to lie to you, every game has been close, but in every single game, the Anteaters have found a way to get the win. The North Colorado game was probably their least competitive game. They beat them by 10. First half was very competitive. They ultimately run away with it in the second. Jacksonville State game at home in Irvine, they win it by 5. UAB game, again in Irvine. Game goes to overtime, but the Anteaters pull ahead in OT and win by 4. And then the semifinals, very competitive game against North Texas. They're down big early in that game. They get off to I think the score's 4-14, 4-16 at one point in favor of the Mean Green. Yet UCI came back and found a way to win by 2 points. Devin Tillis has played a great tournament so far. 24 points in the Northern Colorado victory, 22 in the UAB game alongside 11 boards, and in the North Texas Final Four game, Tillis with 16 and 11. I talk about this rotation. They are very good. It's a minimal rotation, I'm not going to lie to you. There's really six guys who play. It's Devin Tillis, it's Bent Leachton, their center, it's Miles Che, it's Jurian Dixon, it's Justin Hone, and then the one bench guy that comes off and plays is Torian Lee. Yeah, you're going to see a combination of some other guys like Kyle Evans come in, but for the most part, it is those 6 guys, and Tillis, Leachton, Che, Hone, Dixon, and Lee. And it works. You know, Tillis is their 4. He's been, commanding the ball a lot, and he's been scoring pretty efficiently. Benton Leachton gets to the line quite a bit, even though if he's not having the best scoring night, he will get to the line. He forces the attention of the defense, and he's going to work his way to the free throw line. Now for Chattanooga, it's been a really good tournament for them too, right? Winning their first game in triple overtime on the road in Middle Tennessee, wins at home against Chattanooga, and then they go on the road to Bradley, beat them by 2 points, and then they pull off the huge upset win over Loyola Chicago in the second round of this tournament, in the Final Four of this tournament in Indianapolis. And they've had multiple guys really step up and take that scoring, take the leading scorer role for the squad. Bash Wineland did it in their game over Middle Tennessee. He had 31. Honor Huff, had 26 and 21 in back-to-back games against Dayton and Bradley. And the other day, in their victory over Loyola Chicago, it was the senior Trey Bonham, their point guard, who averaged 14.5 points this season. He put up 23 en route to their victory over Loyola Chicago. So Chattanooga has played a really good tournament. They have been able to score in most of their games. The Bradley game was very close and low scoring, but they found a way to win, and they've got guys, right? Huff, Bonham, Wineland, Frank Champion, as well as a guy who, when healthy, has played a really good year this year. He has been out since the VMI game in March, but that's just another guy who they've been missing down the stretch here. Part of one of their guys who does score more than 10 points a game. But again, with him out still, it is Weiland, it is Huff, it is Bonham. These guys are going to show up and they are going to score. I would say Chattanooga is a slightly deeper team than UCI is. I mean, UC Irvine really playing 6 guys. Chattanooga, they're going to play 8, 9. The bench guys really don't get that much run, but each of them will come in for, 2 5-minute intervals for the most part. Mekhi Richards, one of their better scorers off the bench, he put up 10 in the game and the win over Loyola Chicago. We'll see, because I do think Chattanooga is the better scoring team. I think by far UC Irvine's the better defensive team. I mean, I always go back, and I've said this multiple times this season, but when UC Irvine played Kent State, another team that was in the NIT this season, they held them to 39 points. I know that was all the way back in late November, but UC Irvine, if they want to shut you down, they can. And again, Leichtston just commands so much attention defensively, and Chattanooga is somewhat of a small team. I mean, Huff is 5'10", Bonham, I mean, they've got basically 2 point guards in Huff and Bonham. Bonham 6 foot, Huff 5'11" or 5'10". They are somewhat of a small team, and I do wonder how they're going to manage against Bent Leichtston, because it's going to be the freshman Colin Mulholland. He's 6'10", but I mean, he doesn't play that many minutes. He does start, but he plays like 20 minutes a night, if that. And I think that's a real big matchup for Irvine to exploit. Sure, he had 21 points in the triple overtime victory over Middle Tennessee, but I think, again, if Bent Leichtston, he should be able to grab. And okay, he can score. Colin Mulholland, he can score. He doesn't really get rebounds. So that's where Garrison Kessler comes in, but he's really their 4. So I don't know. I think Leichtston's going to have a field day today. And I've been saying that for a while in this tournament because, yes, Tillis has done so much for the squad being their 4, but I really think this is the game where Leichtston playing his final collegiate basketball game really comes through, because Garrison Kessler will probably be on Tillis for most of the game, and that matchup down low, Leichtston versus a freshman, and Leichtston's got 4 inches on him. Yeah, that's really going to be won by the Anteaters. So I think that alone, again, I don't care if Leichtston has a million points tonight. He's gonna get sent to the line and he's gonna grab every rebound, and that's just going to set UC Irvine so well off in this game. And I think it's a pretty easy pick, guys. I understand Chattanooga's played a really good tournament. They've been able to play a high scoring pace. That's not going to continue against UC Irvine. They're going to slow the game down. Devin Tillis, I will expect to have 20 points. We'll see Justin Hone probably have a good night. And I think, again, it all starts and ends with Bent Leichtston. The season has revolved around him this year for the Anteaters, the best year in UCI basketball history. And I think Bent Leichtston and company come through tonight in Indianapolis. I'm taking the UC Irvine Anteaters to win the NIT tournament. Hey, UC San Diego got the last laugh in the Big West. I will definitely say winning the NIT is better than losing in the first round of Michigan. Even though UCSD played a great game in the NCAA tournament, I'm just saying, shout out to UC Irvine finding a way to come out of a very successful season here in 2025. Let's see if they can make that next step in the portal this year and hopefully win the Big West next year and get back in the NCAA tournament. But an NIT championship victory will definitely go a long way in that as well. So UCI, your NIT champions. I think they beat Chattanooga, and I think they cover as well. I got UCI by about 10 points. I really think this is a mismatch. I don't want to say mismatch. I just think they get away from them. I don't think Chattanooga's going to be able to keep up. I don't think they're going to be able to score at the same rate that they do. And I think Leichtston, again, that Leichtston matchup with the freshmen is really going to make a difference. So give me Irvine. To our final game of the night, back on Fox Sports 1, over with the Crown, USC taking on Villanova. I'm taking Villanova to win it, and I'm taking them on the points as well. They're much better than USC. The other day when we had 5 games, or we had 6 games in total to pick from on Tuesday, so I just selected 5 best bets. The one game I didn't play was USC and Tulane. I said, I don't know, maybe Tulane covers. Again, that I didn't spend any time on that game. We completely stayed away from it for a reason, and that game went, again, a different way than I thought it was going to, but that's why I didn't bet it personally, or, again, put it in the video. USC ended up beating Tulane by 29 points. Okay. Good. Does that really show us anything? No, I'll be honest. They're supposed to be Tulane. I didn't have it down in my mind that they weren't going to win that game. It was just a matter of the points for me if they were going to get it done or not. So they won, 89-60. Desmond Claude did not have a good game. It was Rashawn Agee who had 27. St. Thomas had 14. Okay, that's great. USC is now back to 500. They're 17-17. Villanova is really difficult in this tournament to deal with, and I don't think anyone's beating them until potentially Boise in the championship game. I understand Villanova was very underwhelming in the in Big East play this season, right? but we said it at the time before the Colorado game, and I told you guys at the time, I was like, I don't know why the line's 5.5. I think it might have been 4.5 when we made the video. It was 5.5 at tip. I said, I was like, I just don't get it. This is going to be an absolute blowout. I said Villanova by double digits. They won the game by 21 points. As someone who's watched a lot of Villanova and a lot of Colorado basketball this season, it's just, that's it. The game was never going to be competitive, and it wasn't, right? Villanova got off to a hot start, and they never gave up the lead after they got up by 5 points. It's really telling, too, again, the guys who are playing in this tournament for Nova, because Eric Dixon's playing, because Popular's playing. I mean, these guys are seniors, but they're, they have nothing else to do, right? So they're going to play the Crown. They don't get the opt-outs that these other schools are getting. So right there, Dixon alone, again, Dixon and Wuga had 24. Longino as well is also playing this tournament. These three seniors, it's Longino a junior? Might be a junior. But these guys, no, they're all seniors, I believe. Or is it Wuga? No, Wuga's a senior too. Yeah, they're all seniors. These guys are going to go out with the bang, and they're going to beat teams like Colorado, and I think they roll USC as well. I get it. Okay, USC beat Tulane. They beat the one mid-major in this tournament. George Washington, who cares, right? I mean, they beat one of the mid-majors in the tournament, right? Sure. But when you look at what USC did in the regular season, I understand they're in the Big Ten, but they were not a very good team in the Big Ten this season. You even look back to their non-conference schedule when they played the Gales of St. Mary's and lost 71-36, right? This team's not very good. They will have their nights. I will give them that. Like when they had their double overtime victory in the Big Ten tournament over Rutgers, right? And don't get me wrong. I'd much rather had watched Rutgers, Dylan Harper, and Ace Bailey play in this tourney, but I know why they're not in here because they wouldn't have agreed to do it. Regardless, they will have their nights, but they're not going to beat a team like Villanova with the season on the line. They're not going to, right? I mean, expect Desmond Clyde to have a better game this time around. He played very poorly in the Tulane game. Wesley Yates is not in this. I'm very confident Wesley Yates is in the transfer portal. It's hard to keep track of the college basketball transfer portal. I'm not going to lie because we're still going through games right now. But I'm pretty sure Yates is in the portal. I know for a fact he didn't play the last game against Tulane. So Yates is not on the court. He's their freshman who had a great season this year for SC. They're just going to have so much trouble dealing with the big three for Villanova, Longino, Popular, and obviously the leading scorer in all of college basketball this season, Eric Dixon. Right? I mean, in that game against Colorado, both Dixon and Wuga had 20-plus points. That's going to be real tough to deal with for USC. I don't think they stand a chance tonight. I said at the beginning of the tournament, I thought that Nova and Boise were the two best squads, and I think that's probably what we're going to end up getting. There was no debate whether or not Nova should have been in the tournament, in the NCAA tournament, but they were the squad everyone was picking in the Big East tourney. Oh, they're the bid stealer. They're going to steal a bid away. Obviously, that ended up being Colorado State in the Mountain West being the one big bid stealer, but Nova's very talented. They're very capable. They were much better than that lower tier of the Big East, right? It was St. John's, Creighton, UConn, Marquette, Xavier. That was the good tier of the Big East. Obviously, we can split those teams up with just St. John's and Creighton and everybody else, whatnot, whatever is fine. But Nova's a much better than the other teams lower than them in the Big East. I'm talking about Butler. I'm talking about Providence. I'm talking about DePaul. I'm talking about Seton Hall. And yes, I'm talking about the Georgetown Hoyas as well, regardless of whether or not, I'm recording this before the Georgetown game, whether or not Georgetown's in the Final Four of this or not, right? I mean, they were much better than those teams this season, and Nova should continue to prove that. I expect them to steamroll USC. I just don't think the Trojans stand a chance today. So give me the Villanova Wildcats to move on to the Crown Final Four to take on, I have UCF, but I would not be surprised if it's Cincinnati. Again, though, that does feel like a very easy matchup for them. Just like how Boise versus Georgetown and Nebraska does feel like a pretty easy victory for Boise, too. Again, Nebraska might be tough, but I think we're headed towards Boise and Villanova. So, folks, thank y'all for watching our 3 best bets for college basketball here on April 3rd. We'll be back on Saturday for the Final Four of both the Crown and the college basketball, or the NCAA tournament. So make sure to join us for that 4 best bets coming at you on Saturday before we wrap up the entire 2024-2025 college basketball season. So, folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video, and make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.